in this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this thing right here. This is my own original design, except for maybe the dragon scale and the single chain, but this little thing here is my own original design, and it is a part of my back to school or school supply series with rubber bands. And this is a pencil pouch. Now the cool thing with this is, you can make it with, or so, that you can put it in your binder if you have one, or you don't have to make it for your binder, but you can make this pencil pouch for your binder. And this pencil pouch holds about 12 Sharpie markers, and if you don't believe me, I'm going to go ahead and put 12 in here. So 1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
and 12. And to be honest, it could probably hold maybe one more, but it seems pretty full. And these aren't actually Sharpies, but they are about the same size of Sharpies. So yeah, this pencil pouch can hold up to 12 Sharpie markers. So if you're looking for something that can hold that much stuff, then this is the pencil pouch for you. And if you're a middle schooler like me, it can hold pretty much everything that will go in a regular binder pencil pouch in here. So for school, I need 2 pencils, a highlighter, and then 2 different color pens. And then I just have these extra pens for in case. And all of these things can easily fit in my pencil pouch. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put everything in here. Just everything go on in. And bam! So everything is inside now. And the thing about this is it does not close at the top. So whenever you finish making your pencil pouch, you can take a clip and attach it to this kind of single chain thing, and then it won't really close the whole thing and completely prevent things from coming out, but it'll keep the top closed and will keep most things inside. Well, things aren't really falling out that much unless you like shake it a lot upside down. Also, this is a very advanced design, so this is going to be an advanced people's tutorial. So what that means is, because this is a very advanced design and the tutorial is going to be very advanced as well, it's going to be for advanced loomers only, unless if you think you can make this. And when making this, a lot of things have a chance of breaking. Your rubber bands will have the obvious chance of breaking, mainly the single chain bands. Your hook, if you use a plastic hook, will have a very high chance of breaking as well. So metal hooks only, I guess, unless if you want to risk it and use your plastic hook, but that's not recommended whatsoever. And your loom also has a chance of breaking, so don't use your favorite loom for this thing, but don't use a really cheap loom either. Just use like a loom that you just have sitting around, like, oh, I'll just use this for it. So don't use your favorite loom to make this, because when I was using my Rainbow Loom, it almost felt like my loom was just going to snap in half any minute. So yeah, this is a very scary design. And also, because this is an advanced tutorial, I will not be showing you in depth of how to make it too much. You need to know how to make a dragon scale bracelet, at least, and you also need to know how to loom a single chain on your loom backwards. So what I mean is, you place rubber bands on your loom and you make a single chain backwards. So that's what I'm doing right now. grabbing rubber bands. You need to be able to have your hook and loom this single chain right here. So let me put a cap band on it and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So as you can see, the pins are pointing the wrong direction, and here I have my hook. What you would do is go into this cap band, and you need to know how to loom this single chain backwards without the little insides of the pins pointing towards you. Instead, you're looming with the round part of the loom, or pins, pointing towards you. So you need to know how to loom a single chain like that. So like that. So anyway, now that you have the warnings and all that, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what you're going to need. Alright, so to make this advanced project, you're going to need your loom. Any loom will work as long as it has at least 12 pins in each of its pin bars, mainly just the left and right pin bars. So if you count the number of pins in this left row of pins, you should have at least 12, and same for the right. If you have more than that, the Rainbow Loom has more, you can still make this little charm, or not this charm, this pencil pouch or case, whatever you want to call it. But if you have less, then what kind of loom are you using? First of all, how many, what? But if you have less, you cannot make this, unfortunately, or at least as big as you're going to want it to be. You're also going to need your hook. Since this is an advanced project and it's just going to be pretty complicated and lots of crazy stuff happening, I would recommend you use a metal hook or a stronger hook like this Rainbow Loom metal tip hook. You could probably still use your plastic hook, but it's most likely going to break. You will not need any clips for this little project here. Not only will you need those things there, but you will also, of course, need rubber bands. And you're going to need tons of rubber bands. As you can see here, I have the actual bags full of rubber bands. Now, I'm going to go ahead and explain what each bag is going to be. So these two bags here, these green rubber bands and these purple rubber bands, are going to be the actual pencil case. So they're going to be the little dragon scale. So that's what these are going to be. And you're going to need a ton of rubber bands, of course, for this. So I would recommend having a bag full of rubber bands for it. And if you don't have a bag full, then I would recommend using rainbow colors, so you're using as little as of each color as possible. And each of these bags, there are 600, so I'm gonna have to do the math later. Not you, just me. Anyway. Then this bag here of gray rubber bands are going to be the rubber bands that you will use to close the pencil pouch together, so it's not just one long little sheet of dragon scale. And I'm using gray, like I just said. And you won't need nearly as much of this as you will for the actual pencil pouch. So you won't really need a full bag of this, but you'll need quite a few. But I will have numbers as captions on the screen of how many rubber bands you're going to need. But anyway, you're going to need a ton of rubber bands, so get a ton of rubber bands. And now that you know what you're going to need, get your supplies and use the pause button so that you can do so, and I will see you once you have everything. Okay, so for this project, you're going to want to have your hook nearby the whole time because you're going to be using it shortly after you've placed a few rubber bands. Actually, it's probably going to be like another 10 minutes before you do, because it's me. I'm going to talk forever. But anyway, to begin, you're going to want the arrow on your loom pointing towards you. And we're going to, or actually, you're going to start placing rubber bands on either the left side of your loom or the right side of your loom. And the rubber bands you're going to start placing, or the side of your loom you're going to start placing rubber bands on, depends on if you hold your hook in your left hand to loom or in your right hand to loom. Alright, so to begin, you're going to need to have your loom and the rubber bands that you will, or well, the rubber band color or whatever rubber band that will be holding the pencil pouch together first. You will be placing these first. And you're also going to want to have your hook nearby during this whole project because you will be using it a lot. So that's why you're going to want a stronger hook. Voice is being weird right now, so sorry if it's sounding weird. I don't know if it is because I can't really tell. But anyway, to place these rubber bands that will hold the pencil pouch together, you're going to place them on either the left side of your loom or the right side of your loom first. And to determine which side you're going to place these rubber bands on first is, well, if you go to loom a bracelet and you hold your hook in your right hand, so you loom the bracelet, you use your right hand, and I obviously don't do that because, oh my goodness. You will be placing these rubber bands on the left side of your loom first. If you're like me and you hold your hook in your left hand and loom a bracelet, you will be placing these rubber bands on the right side of your loom first. And also, all of these rubber bands are going to be double rubber bands, so you'll have 2 for each little pin you place them on or something. Yeah. Now anyway, to begin placing these rubber bands, you need to find the 12th pin on whichever side of the loom you're going to be placing the rubber bands on first. So either the left or the right. So find the 12th pin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So on a rainbow loom, it's the second to last pin. Now, depending on what side you're supposed to be placing these rubber bands on first, you're going to take 2 of these rubber bands and place them going from this 12th pin to this 11th pin. Then you're going to get 2 more rubber bands and place them going from this 11th pin to this 10th pin. Then you're going to get 2 more of these rubber bands and place them going now from this 10th pin to this 9th pin. And that's all you're going to do. You're just going to continue placing double rubber bands, so 2 rubber bands, on the next 2 pins on your loom, going down either the left pin bar or the right pin bar until you get to the first pin. So either the first left pin or the first right pin, depending on where you're placing this little single chain thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue. I'm not going to fast forward. Just use the pause button if you need to. Alright, so as you can see here, I have a single chain going from this 12th pin all the way down to this first pin, and you should have as well, only if you hold your hook in your right hand, it should be on the left side of your loom, not the right. And once you have done that, you're going to place another little single chain on the other side of your loom, but you're going to be placing it backwards. So you're going to start on this first pin and go up. But before you do that, you're going to get 2 more of these little hold it together rubber bands, and you're going to place them going from this first pin to this first middle pin. So from either the first left pin or the first right pin inwards to this first middle pin. And here's what it looks like if you are doing this on the right side of your loom. Cool little editing trick there. But once you've done that, you're going to get 2 more of these holding it together rubber bands, and going outwards from this first middle pin to the first pin on the other side of your loom. So because I was here on the right, these next 2 rubber bands are going outwards to the left. So you get something like this, and if you hold your hook in your right hand, you should have something like this. Now, once you have placed that there, you're going to now place another little single chain of double holding it together rubber bands going up the opposite pin bar that you were on before. So if you were on the left before, you are now going to place on the right. If you were on the right, like me, you will be placing on the left. About to say right again. But instead of coming all the way up here to this 11th pin, you're going to start on this first pin and place double rubber bands going up your loom this way. You're not going to turn your loom around or anything. You're just going to take 2 holding it together rubber bands and place them going from this first pin to this second pin. So like this. Then you're going to get 2 more and place them on the next 2 pins. So the second pin and the third pin. And you're just going to go up your loom until you get to the 11th pin on the other side of your loom. So if you were here on the left, or if you were here on the right, you're now on the left. If you're on the left, you're now on the right. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this little single chain just like I did before. I'm not going to fast forward. So if I do go too fast, just use the pause button. You're just going to place double rubber bands going up your loom like so. Alright, awesome. So now, once you have placed the last double rubber bands going from this 10th pin, or no, from this 11th pin to this 12th pin on the opposite side of your loom. So because I was on the right first, now I'm on the left. If you're on the left first, you're now on the right. Once you have placed those last 2 rubber bands, you are done placing these holding it together rubber bands for your pencil case or pouch for now. So you can just put these away for a little while, or for however long it takes you to make this thing, probably a couple hours. And you're now going to get the rubber bands that you will be making your pencil pouch with. Alright, now, you might want to have your hook nearby, or, well, in a few minutes. I will tell you when to get your hook out again, but you might want to have it nearby or something, because you're going to need it pretty soon. You're also going to need the rubber bands you're going to be making your pencil pouch with, and you're also going to need to turn your loom so that the arrow is pointing the same direction as the hand you hold your hook with. Hold on, there's vibrating. It's the garage. My room is just above the garage. How convenient. Oh, okay, it's gone. So, the arrow on your loom needs the arrow on your loom needs to be pointing the same direction as the hand that you hold your hook with. So if you hold your loom, or not your loom, if you hold your hook with your right, the arrow on your loom will be pointing towards the right. And if you hold your hook with your left, like me, you're going to have the arrow on your loom pointing to the left. So I'm going to put my hook away. I'm going to go ahead and open these rubber bands. Ouch. My ears. Ooh. I just got these this weekend. I was so excited to open these. Finally get to open them. Okay. Put my hook off to the side. Alright. Now, because this design is going to be a dragon scale, you should already know how to make a dragon scale, because that's what I said at the beginning of the tutorial. Before we even began the tutorial, I told you you need to know this. But before we do begin placing the dragon scale, make sure you push these holding it together rubber bands all the way down to the bottom of the pins as far as you can go. You're going to be ignoring these rubber bands until the end of the project. So make sure you push them as far down as possible so that you don't accidentally grab them with your hook while you're making your pencil pouch. So once they're all down as far as possible, now you can start to make your dragon scale. Now I'm not going to give a full tutorial on a dragon scale, but I'm just going to go ahead and just tell you little basics. So to begin, make sure the arrow on your loom is pointing the same direction of which you hold your hook with. So lefties have their arrows pointing to the left, righties have their arrow pointing to the right. And to begin, you're going to get double of your first color, so 2, and you're going to place it going from this 12th pin to this 11th pin, like so. And you're going to twist it into an infinity or 8 shape like this. So let me show you again. You're going to take double of whatever your first color is and twist it like so. Then you're going to skip this next little space here. So see how this rubber band, or well, these rubber bands fill this space between these two pins? You're going to skip this next space here, and you're going to place 2 more of your first color going across the 10th pins and the 9th pins. The same way, you're going to twist them into an 8 or infinity shape like so. And as you can see, there isn't a rubber band filling this space in between the 11th pin and the 10th pin, so there's nothing here. Then you're going to skip another space, so you're going to skip this next space after this rubber band. And you're going to place 2 more of your first color going from now this 8th pin and this 7th pin. Or yes, the 8th pin and the 7th pin. The same way, twisting it into an 8 or infinity shape like so. And as you can see, there is no rubber band on this space here, but there is one here. So you're just going to follow this pattern until you get to the end of this pin bar. So whatever pin bar you're using, you're just going to continue. Just continue placing these little infinity shapes. Alright, so as you can see here, I have finished placing little 8 and infinity shapes on every other space on my loom, like this, and you should have as well. And now you're going to want to push these down a little bit, not too far down because it will be hard to separate them when you go to loom them, because you don't want to grab these bottom rubber bands. But once you've done that, you're going to do this same thing here on this side that you've done, now on the other side. So you're going to turn your loom around, so now the arrow is either pointing to the right if you were a lefty, and if you are a righty, it will be pointing to the left now. Now what you're going to do is you're going to get 2 more of your first color again, and you're going to place it on this first middle pin and this first pin on the pin bar closest to you. So this pin bar over here is farther away and it already has rubber bands on it. But this pin bar that's closest to me does not have any rubber bands on it, except for these, but just ignore them. So this pin bar here does not have any rubber bands on them. So that's where you're going to place your next 2 first color rubber bands. And you're going to twist them into an 8 or infinity shape like the rest of them. So you get something like this on your loom. Then you're going to do the same thing you did here on this pin bar, the other side of your loom, on now the pin bar that's closest to you now. So you're going to get 2 of your first color rubber bands, and you're going to skip this first space here, and you're going to twist these 2 first color rubber bands going from this second pin to this third pin into an 8 or infinity shape like so. And you're just going to do the same, skip a space, place 2 more first color rubber bands, and twist them as well, until you get to the end of this single chain. So not the end of the pin bar, but the end of the single chain. And just use the pause button if I go too fast. Alright, so as you can see, I have finished placing these 8 infinity shape, or these 8 infinity shapes little things here. Once you have finished doing that, you're now going to turn your loom so that the arrow is pointing to the left again or to the right again, depending on what hand you hold your hook in. So the arrow should be pointing to the left if you're a lefty, and the arrow should be pointing to the right if you are a righty. Now we're going to place our second color, or roller, second layer of rubber bands. And you also might want to push down these other rubber bands a little bit, not too much. I forgot to say that before, but common sense should tell you to do that. But anyway, to place your second color, you're going to get 2 of your second color as well, so these are going to be doubled also. And you're going to just place them across these spaces on your loom that do not have a first color rubber band occupying them. So what I'm saying is, you're not going to place your second color on the 12th and 11th pins. You're going to place your second color on the 11th and 10th pin. So like that. Then you're going to get 2 more second color rubber bands, and you're going to place them, or actually you're going to skip this next space because there is a first color rubber band there, and you're going to place these second color rubber bands across this other space that does not have a first color rubber band on it. So if you already know how to make a dragon scale, this is just really easy for you. And that's pretty much all you're going to do. Get 2 second color rubber bands and place them across these spaces that have, that don't have a first color rubber band on them. And you're going to do this for the whole loom. So I'll go ahead and show you the other side, but you're going to go ahead and just do this for your whole loom. So here's the first pin bar. And when you get to this little part here, you're just going to go ahead and take 2 second color rubber bands and place them going from this last pin bar, or from this first pin to this first middle pin. So it still has this dragon scale kind of pattern to it because it's the first color, then the second color. Here in the middle, it's still first color, second color. First color, second color. And you're going to do this same thing on the other side. You're going to get 2 second color rubber bands and stretch them across the spaces that do not have a first color rubber band on them. But you're going to ignore these 2 pins here at the end of your loom. Or at the end of this pin bar, sorry. So you're going to ignore the 13th and 12th pins. And if I did not say that before on the others, and you did that on the other side or the other pin bar, then just take those off and use them on another space. So I'm just going to go ahead and place double second color rubber bands on all of the spaces. Just use the pause button if I go too fast. Oh my goodness, the sun is shining. Oh, yeah, right, forgot. You're supposed to ignore those, never mind. Alright, so now as you can see here, I have 2, or double, second color rubber bands stretching across all of the spaces that do not have a first color on them. And once you have that, you're going to get your hook, so have your hook, or just right next to you or something. And you're going to need to turn your loom so that the arrow is pointing the direction which you hold your hook in. So if you hold your hook with your left, the arrow is pointing to the left. If you hold your hook in your right hand, it's pointing to the right. So now, because you're getting your hook, it is time to loom. Oh, it is time to loom this little dragon scale here. Okay, I'm not going to be switching to the pink background just because it's really easy to loom a dragon scale. I mean, come on, people. It's not that hard. Now, to loom this dragon scale, what you're going to do is you're going to get your hook and you're going to keep the arrow pointing towards whatever direction you hold your hook with. So if you hold your hook with your left, yeah, you get the idea. You're just going to get your hook and you're going to grab the second, or well, I guess the third to the bottom layer, the second to top layer, or you're just going to grab your first color rubber bands with your hook. So you're going to completely ignore these holding it together rubber bands at the very bottom of the pins. So I'm going to ignore my gray rubber bands. Whatever color you're using, you're going to ignore them. But you're going to grab your first color rubber band with your hook and pull it over the pin it is on and onto this second color rubber band above it. Alright, hello everyone, it is Jay Burns from the future, and in this tutorial I make a mistake, and well, I'm here to make sure you don't make that same mistake. So when you loom the rubber bands, the dragon scale rubber bands, you need to loom them outwards away from the middle pin bar. So you need to come behind the pin and loom the first color rubber bands outwards away from the middle pin bar, because if you loom them regularly, then the dragon scale will eventually get in the way and make it difficult to loom rubber bands on the pins at the end of your loom, and also, well, just for the whole thing. So make sure you loom the rubber bands so that they will kind of cover your loom as the dragon scale grows and gets longer. So it'll be a little difficult to loom on some pins, but this will save you a lot of time. And you're going to do this for all of the first color rubber bands on your loom, or at least on this pin bar. Now, if you want your dragon scale to be coming off of your loom, so it's kind of wrapping over the pins like this, you're going to want to come behind the pin and loom the rubber band. But that's just if you want the dragon scale to be coming off your loom towards you. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, just ignore me. But just loom or pull over the bottom layer, or not the bottom layer, the first color rubber bands on all pins. If I can do that. Hey, camera's being funny. Or it thinks it's being funny. It's not, it's being annoying. Now, just gonna go ahead and finish. Just super slow, but just use the pause button if you need to. Alright, so once you get here to the first and second pin on whatever pin bar you're using, you will come across your last first color rubber band on this pin bar. But what you're going to do is just simply loom it over the pins it is on. Just grab the first color rubber band like normal and pull it over the pins. If I can do that. There we go. Only now this rubber band is going to go inwards a little more because this rubber band is going inwards. Now you're going to go ahead and do the same thing you did on this first pin bar on this second pin bar. But only here you're just going to do this normally. Just grab the first color rubber band layers, pull them over the pins. That's all you're going to do for that. And this middle pin might be a little difficult. Just saying. But make sure you pull it over the pin and it's at least hugging or kind of stuck on the pin. Kind of like this. So on the face of the pin, not behind it. And because the arrow is pointing the same direction as you hold your hook, you can still loom these rubber bands here. So you could just get your hook, grab the first color layer with your hook, and just pull it over the pins. You can still loom this like normal, with the arrow pointing the same direction. Don't need to turn your loom. Just use the pause button if you need to. I would recommend doing that when I finish. And bam. So as you can see here, I have loomed all of the the first color rubber bands on all the pins. So there are no longer any first color rubber bands on any pins except for the 12th pin on this pin bar closest to you and the 11th pin on the pin bar farthest away from you. That's the only place you should have first color rubber bands on your loom. Now we're going to place some more first color rubber bands. Alright, so have your hook off to the side because you're going to be needing it shortly after you place these next first color rubber bands. Now if you're using rainbow colors, then this would just be your third color, but just call it your first color. It's just going to be called the first color because I have two colors. Just don't get confused. If you are confused, I'm so sorry. Just get the next color to place. But anyway, we're now going to do the same thing that we did for our second color rubber bands. We're going to get two first color rubber bands, and we're now going to place them on all the spaces on your loom that are above this single chain that do not have a second color rubber band occupying them. So there might still be a little bit of there should still be a first color on there, or it might look like it, but you're just going to place the first color rubber bands anywhere a second color rubber band is not. So the first two first color rubber bands you're going to place are going to go from this 12th pin to this 11th pin, like the first time you placed a color rubber bands. And you're not going to twist them this time. Then you're going to get 2 more first color rubber bands and skip this next space and place them on the next, or going across the next space. Then again, you're going to get 2 more first color rubber bands, place them on this next space that does not have a second color rubber band, so skip a space and place these 2 on the next space. Then again, 2 more, skip this next space with the second color, place them across the next one. And you're just going to do this going all the way down this pin bar, if you haven't really already guessed. If you haven't already guessed, you obviously have not made a dragon scale, and you need to go do that. But it's kind of too late because you already have a ton of rubber bands. Oh well. Alright. And once you have finished placing your first color, going down this first pin bar, you're going to do the same thing for the second pin bar, but you're going to turn your loom around so that the arrow is pointing the opposite direction that it was pointing before. And make sure you place 2 more first color rubber bands going from this first middle pin to this first pin on the other side of your loom, or on the opposite pin bar, because as you can see here, there is a second color rubber band occupying this space. So this next rubber band, or well, these 2 rubber bands are going across this space. Hopefully that didn't confuse you way too much. Alright, now you're going to get 2 more first color rubber bands and just place them, but whatever spaces there is not a second color. You get the idea. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Use the pause button if you need to. Probably not, because I'm going as slow as poop. I need to speed it up, so I'm going to do that. And also make sure you place 2 more first color rubber bands on this space that has just the A color rubber band, or not the A color, the first color rubber band. I keep saying A color rubber bands. Goodness. But once you have finished placing the double first color rubber bands on all spaces, there is not a second color rubber band. You are now going to loom. So turn your loom. Oh my goodness! Turn your loom so that the arrow is pointing the same direction as you hold your hook with. So lefties pointing to the left, righties to the right. And you're just going to loom all the bottom layer rubber bands over the pins and onto the rubber bands above them. So all of these second color rubber bands, because these holding it together rubber bands do not exist. So just loom them over the pin. Oop. My rubber band was not twisted correctly. I'm gonna have to fix that, so give me a moment. So just grab the second color rubber bands and pull them over the pins they are on with your hook and onto these first color rubber bands above them. And you're just going to do this for your entire loom. You do not need to turn your loom around or anything. Just keep it like this. Well, yeah, so the arrows should still be pointing to the left, even though you're over here. Or if you're righty, it should still be pointing to the right. It's always so difficult to grab these rubber bands. There we go. You can do what I did, turn your loom so you can get these rubber bands here. Gotta reach in there. And I do apologize if you would rather me fast forward, but since this is a little advanced, one of my most advanced designs, I'm just gonna be going slow. Unless if I change my mind while editing, I'm like, ugh, this is too slow. I got to go faster. But for now, I'm just gonna go nice and slow. Come on. Oh, and make sure you do loom these first color rubber bands that are underneath of the other first color rubber bands when you loom, and darn it, when you loom these second color rubber bands. Need to fix them. Alright, fixed it. Now it's not disaster anymore. Oh, I gotta loom this rubber band. Almost forgot. There we go. Alright, so once you have finished looming all of your second color rubber bands, and there's no longer any second color rubber bands on your loom, there should not be any at all, there's no exceptions, no second color rubber band should be sitting on a pin. If there is, make sure you loom it, because that'll mess up your pencil case and your dragon scale. And now you're going to place second colors on your loom. So, with the arrow still pointing the same direction as it was when you were looming, and your hook off to the side somewhere, you're going to get 2 double rubber bands. So if you haven't gotten the idea already, all of the rubber bands in this project are doubled for strength and looks purposes. And all you're going to do is you're going to be placing 2 second color rubber bands on all, or going across all of the spaces on your loom that do not have an first color rubber band stretched across them. So see, this first space has a first color. You're going to skip it, and you're going to place your first second color rubber bands, make sure there's 2, going across this next space. And you already know how to make a dragon scale, so I'm not going to spend 10 minutes explaining that again. Just get 2 second color rubber bands, stretch them across all the spaces. There's not a first color. So just use the pause button if you need to. Alright. Now once you get to the end of this pin bar here, your first pin bar that's closest to you right now, you actually do not need to turn your loom, but I just do that because I don't know, it's just easier, or I don't know why I turn my loom. You actually don't need to do that, but so now you're just probably mad, just like, oh, you're wasting my time. Sorry. But just make sure you place, so just make sure you have double second color rubber bands on all spaces that do not have a first color, except for up here. Oh, and I placed it on the wrong space. See? Yeah, it's a lot easier to do this. Okay, it's a good idea to push these down, because they're getting in my way. Alright, so now as you can see here, I have placed double second color rubber bands on all spaces on this single chain of my little project, or my little pencil case. Except for this space here with we're on the 11th and 12th pin on the other side of my loom. And once you have placed all of the double rubber bands you need to, just turn your loom around again. So now the arrow should be pointing the same direction that you hold your hook with. So lefty's on the left, righty's on the right. And you're now going to loom all of the first color rubber bands again. So you'll get your hook, grab the 2 first color rubber bands, pull them over the pin, and onto the second color rubber bands you just placed above them. And you'll do this on all pins on your loom, wherever it is possible, because here it is not. Go ahead and turn your looms. You can grab these. And as you can see here, it's getting a little bit difficult to kind of push these rubber bands up here back. Or, well, they're kind of getting in the way, so you're going to want to push them back, or just have them sticking up or something. Or you can loom these rubber bands outwards the other way. Instead of turning your loom like this, you can turn your loom like this, and loom them out that way, so that way they're not coming in and invading your personal looming space. I don't know. Just make sure you get all these first color rubber bands. It's gonna go really fast now. And they're just gonna go super looming speed. So I'm tired of being slow. It's time to be fast. Alright. So now, as you can see, I have loomed all of the first color rubber bands over the pins. They are on and onto the second color rubber bands. Except for these two here. We will loom these next time. And, well, all you're going to do is you're just going to continue this little dragon scale pattern thing until you have made, well, the dragon scale or whatever you want to. Well, yeah, the dragon scale for your pencil pouch long enough so that you can fit some pencils in it. And this is how wide it's going to be. We're going to actually fold this in half in the end. So this is how wide it's going to be. Oh, wait, if this is how wide it's going to be, oh wait, never mind. We're going to need all of them. I'm just a little paranoid. I don't have an example, so I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? But anyway, just continue this little pattern here of placing first color, then looming second color, then placing second color and looming first color until you have made this dragon scale long enough so that it is long enough so you can put pencils in it. And I'm going to be making mine 6.5 inches long, so if you want to have a size you want to stop at, 6.5 inches is where I'm stopping. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here, because there's not really a point fast forwarding, because that's probably going to be 30 minutes, and that's kind of dumb. I'm just going to go ahead and cut the video here until I have made this dragon scale long enough for some pencils and stuff. So, good luck, and see you then, or later. See ya. Alright, and hello everyone. It is me, Jay Burns, from the future. And this was part 1 of how to loom the pencil case for my Back to School series. So I do apologize for having this tutorial in several different parts, but it was just really long. It was 3 hours long with all the clips together, so yeah, separate parts is probably the better idea. But anyway, so in part 2, you are going to finish off the dragon scale by looming the single chain or the holding it together bands, and also loom together the dragon scale sheet that you get as the end product together with some more rubber bands. So to move on to part 2, you need to finish the dragon scale sheet used for the pencil pouch, and then on part 2 you will loom the holding it together bands at the bottom of the pins. So yeah. So anyway, thanks for watching, and bye!